What is up, everybody? I'm Courtney.
I'm Sean.
We are Hill City Paranormal.
Gang, gang.
I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, let some people tune in. Looks like we got a couple. Man, we got a lot to catch up on. I feel like we've been running since
nowhere.
Friday.
Ran nowhere. Obviously.
We ran up some hills. Why is this crooked? What
because you hit it. You came in here and hit my coffin.
Lord.
I'm tired of you knocking stuff over. You do this all the time and on purpose for no reason.
This chick behind me's got to move because I don't like her at all.
That's my homie.
Hey, Lost Souls.
What's up,
Emily and Chris?
Hello.
They made us the cutest little gold Buddha with their 3D printer. I'm super excited. But since Friday, we have been going nonstop. As most of you know, we have been doing Paranormal Fridays at the cemetery, the local cemetery here, Old City Cemetery. Basically, Paranormal Fridays is like educate the public on some tools and techniques that we use in the field while paranormal investigating, and then allow them to become the investigator. Ronnie, you should have seen him in his uniform this weekend.
Thank you, Ronnie.
I love him in uniform.
I think I look better in my jean wool, though.
So we had a reenactment this weekend, the 160th anniversary of the Battle of Cedar Creek. And so we had to run out there, set up our camp, come back, do paranormal nights, then run back, do a battle on Saturday, then do a battle on Sunday. So it was just a whole awesome weekend, just totally awesome weekend. And of course we had to sneak in some paranormal investigating on the battlefield.
Oh yeah. And Ronnie, I remember you saying that on the show with me and Ed. Next time something like that happens, you message, I will come get you myself if I have to and escort you down there.
For sure.
Yes.
So
yes.
But yeah, we did get a chance to see Shayla. So shout out Middletown Paranormal.
I wanted to rub Ronnie's beard.
Always a pleasure when we go out of town and run into other teams. I absolutely love it. John Sullivan, Fredericksburg Paranormal. Hello.
Sullivan, FBI in the house.
But this show is not about us.
It's not about us today.
Today, we are welcoming to the show Mr. Andy Andrews with Vapor Paranormal. What's up, Andy?
Hey. How's it going?
How are you?
Crazy busy tonight.
Yeah. So we for those that don't know, we had invited Andy to our show before, and life. That's it. I'm going to sum it up with life. But we were able to wrangle him back in, and here he is.
Yes. Welcome.
So welcome. Where are you from?
So actually, I was just listening to you guys talk about Cedar Creek Battlefield, and I'm actually from Strasburg. That's where I grew up at. So Cedar Creek is that was home to me, and actually that battle and some of the situations. So what got me into paranormal was having experiences as a little kid, because on my property where I grew up at, we actually had a Confederate ammunition dump that was part of the Cedar Creek battlefield or the battle.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
So that I started seeing things when I was 3-4 years old. And, from that point on, I always had parents who were concerned. So they started taking me to doctors and stuff like that, thinking that, because I would wake them up at 3:30 in the morning and tell them there was people outside, and wasn't quite that. So,
yeah.
So from that point, they had me looked at and stuff like that. We'll leave it at that. And, and I wanted to, my grandmother is actually, she is a psychic. She is gifted. She's been used by local police departments, stuff like that. So she finally sat him down and said, maybe he's got something, it's passed down. And it did, to a point. Not full-fledged. I mean, maybe more clairvoyant, I guess is easier to say. But at a young age, being innocent, you're not told that ghosts aren't real or spirits aren't real.
Right.
So, but when the innocence is taken, then it's kind of stinks after that. But, and as I grew a little bit older, I met a guy out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, that was dealing with the same kind of stuff. And we were about 14 years old. And that's when we started to talk about how we wanted to see what we had experienced and try to figure out what it was. And so that's kind of when it got started with a little bitty, like cassette tape recorder and walking, house to house that was empty. And I guess a little bit of urban exploring probably with it, and set up tapes, and we would hit record and leave and come back and get the tape player a couple hours later, and there'd be voices on there, and we could never figure out, what that was. And then at age 16, we decided to take a trip up north and went to these two people talk about paranormal by the names of Ed and Lorraine Warren. And once we met them and started really getting into it. So
we love Ed and Lorraine Warren.
The legends.
That's right. The legends.
I definitely miss Ed. I didn't get to know very well. I mean, we spoke a few times, but Lorraine, I did get pretty close with her. Did a few events with her, stuff like that to start out. But then it was kind of funny. She had seen me at Moundsville, West Virginia State Prison for an event. And she said, just, would always start out, "Oh, honey, don't go in there. Don't go into that part tonight." She would tell me that. And so then other times I'd see her, I'd try to dodge away from her because she would always have something to say, like, "I know what you're going through." Like she could read you pretty good, and so, but anyway, when she passed, I was actually asked, to come, join the family and friends, which was pretty cool. And
what an honor.
Definitely missed. And, I live here in Gettysburg now, or right outside of Gettysburg, and they just had the Warren Con here 2 weeks ago.
Yes, we were there.
Were you?
Yes, we were.
Right past you and didn't know it. But,
that's where I got this creepy signed picture of Bonnie. Definitely a Conjuring fan, the nun. And of course, we got to meet a lot of cool people. Fredericksburg Paranormal was up there as well with us.
Yeah, I got one of these cool people here in my shop right now.
Who's the cool person?
Sean Austin.
Hi, Sean.
He's out there talking to people.
Well, tell him to make a cameo.
I told him to come in here when I got on, but it's him and Eric Connor from Epic Paranormal and Chris Mendez from Unknown. Yeah, they're all three here. They're good friends of mine. And
well, if they want to pop on with you, they're more than welcome. Shout out Bedford Paranormal, Daryl Paulette, Michael Brooks, also from Fredericksburg Paranormal. Hey, he was with us at the Warren's Paracon.
Yeah, the gentleman that I knew, Carl Lawhead, he had a team. He now lives in Strasburg, actually. But that's who I hooked up with. It's pretty funny because we did a lot of things together, and then we kind of just life took us in different directions once we got out of high school. And then I moved back home, I don't know, roughly maybe 15 years or 10 years ago, probably, maybe a little less than that. And I seen an ad in the local paper that said paranormal team looking for people. And so I called the number. It ended up like as soon as he answered the phone, I was like, "Carl?" And he's like, "Andy?" And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy that we hooked back up. So that started me back, being with the team because I was doing more stuff by myself. And,
right.
And then, we split not on bad terms, but I was moving up this way. And, Gettysburg is always, my parents were always bringing me here at a young age. And just the history and, the ambience of this place is something else. So, and then I'd come up here and within a month, I get my job running Ghost City tours, doing investigations now, getting paid for it. So I can't complain about that.
I was just about to ask you to go into that. So, one, what does VAPOR stand for? Just for those that may not be aware.
So that's the Valley Agency of Paranormal Research.
Okay.
And
you're now in Gettysburg running Ghost City Tours, which is located. Do you have a brick and mortar?
Yes, we do. We're right on the square, actually, right in the middle of town. They're having their big Halloween hunt or Halloween parade right now. That's why I might hear people out there in the lobby. They're running around, and we're trying to get a tour started, but got to wait until the crowd kicks back. But yes, we're at 10 Lincoln Square. Actually, if you know where the David Wills house is, which was where Lincoln, finished the Gettysburg Address, we're attached to that. We're right beside it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
so
we're actually
how a tour. Like, what times are your tours? How does that go? Where do we purchase tickets if we want to jump on one?
Yeah, so you can actually go online and go under Ghost City Tours, and then you just have to pick Gettysburg. Or you can come in here. We're open, 7 days a week, but we run tours right now, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. We have an all ages tour. That's 6 and 8 o'clock. And then we do an adult only tour, which is 7 and 9, and adult only 16 and up, which it's a little bit more graphic, if you catch what I'm saying. So
Sure.
yeah, it's a little bit more. And hi, Rhonda. I know Rhonda Harris.
Hey, Rhonda.
Rhonda, shout out FPRI again.
But yeah, they
I'll be right back, y'all.
but it's yeah, we concentrate a lot on the first day of battle. There's still quite a lot of buildings that are still here that were used back then for multiple things. Mostly hospitals. I mean, everything I think stood here was taking care of some kind of wounded at some point.
Exactly.
And then we have a house outside, right on the outside of the battlefield on Chambersburg Pike, that we rent and do investigations there, 3-hour investigations. It was used by the 18th Division of Artillery of North Carolina. They camped out there. A lot of remnants on the floor where they probably did some, probably more like triage type of work, a lot of history points at that. Unfortunately, a lot of death in the house from the, Civil War I.
Is this the same battlefield farmhouse that that Gettysburg Paranormal takes to? So it's a whole nother battlefield house.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to check that out.
And this past weekend, I actually I go out and do ghost stories for a local resort here every other week for an hour on Saturdays, and they send all their people to us for business.
Sure.
And there was a house sitting on their property, and I asked, it looked familiar, and I was like, what's the name of that house? And they told me, and I was like, you do know that was like a major Civil War hospital, especially for the North. And she's like, yeah, we've heard that, but we don't know, And so I got to actually go in and, hey, Sean.
Go round them up.
They said, say hi, make a cameo or something.
Uh-oh.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
How are you?
Welcome. Sean was just recently at the Blue Ball Inn, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we investigated that. Definitely an interesting place. But we figured everybody would want to see Sean Austin.
Yeah.
I was the second team that actually investigated that place. We were talking about one outside of Winchester, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think we followed right behind you guys, because I want to say we were the third team in there.
Yeah, they had some people.
Yeah, so we went in there. That was crazy.
Definitely a good spot. Really nice owner too, and he's putting some real love and passion into the property. So well deserved, and really interesting to let all these people get a little piece of the experience of that interesting history there. It's definitely haunted.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I went in there a little bit skeptical.
That's right. He told me.
But after leaving there, I mean, I looked right at him and told him definitely haunted for sure. And we will be back.
Yeah, 100%.
That's right. Because we were there right after you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's
Hey,
remember that.
Ron, Bedford Paranormal. Hello. Sam from Wyoming. Hey, Sam.
Wyoming.
Well, you guys have a great podcast. We're taking off. We're doing the orphanage tonight. Good talking with you, and happy spooky season to all.
That's right. Take care. Good to see you.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. Yes, all the way from Wyoming. Sam. Beat him up later. We don't want to be witnesses.
Right.
Yeah, too many witnesses right now.
The word premeditated gets thrown around the courtroom.
I tell you, I will tell you though that Sean and them have a new app out. They just put it out today, I think, or yesterday was the launch of it. You do have to have an iPhone to get it right now.
Oh man.
But that cancels us out.
But they're working on getting it for Android.
What's the name of the app? Because we do have a team member with an iPhone.
I've got an iPhone. Wait a minute. I've got an iPhone.
Let me see. Chris.
So does Naya.
I'm yelling out the door like.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's like spirit something. Oh, he told me. Hold on, I can find it. But I don't have. They leave already?
Huh?
Did they leave?
I don't know if they've left yet, but we have a small problem. Colin left without a key.
Oh, he just called me.
Yeah.
I bet that's what it is then.
Yep.
Well, he's got to stop by here and snag it. That's all I can tell him.
Spirit phone or something?
We can't.
Yeah, it's actually I'll tell you here in a second. Because he sent it to me.
Spirit Phone Innovations LLC SPI.
That sounds right. Yep.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
it's,
I remember seeing it, and I couldn't remember what it
yeah,
is.
It was kind of cool because they used it. Well, the house that we have, that we actually, that we actually go out to. When they were here for the Gettysburg Bash, I gave them the key to the house because I had a table at the bash, and they went out there even during the day and was doing some work with that when it was still prototype, I guess you could call it. And
Sure.
They came back and they're like, "Hey man, this thing's saying your name a lot." I'm like, "Great."
Well,
But,
it's your house.
But it's almost like a live EVP session. That's
Okay.
kind of what it is. Like when you speak into the phone and it will type out it will type out the answer, or it will type out the question that you ask. And then you get like, there's no white noise really with it, but you're running through, and I guess it would probably be digital waves, kind of like maybe a Phasma box, if you've ever used that. And it's really weird the way it comes back, because it's like, it's pretty clear. It's probably one of the clearer, apps that I've heard. Like, it doesn't have a bunch of like 6, 7, 8, 10 voices at one time coming through, or some kind of static or something like that. And, but it's really like a live EVP session, which is pretty cool. That's kind of what they based it on. Kind of like the Estes method. But, I mean, they used it last night for a little bit when I was with them. And, yeah, it was surprisingly pretty cool. Like I was hearing, direct answers to direct questions. So, the house out there that we have, it can be really, well, like any place, you can have it for, one night, go out there and it's dead, no pun intended. And then come back the next night and stuff's, crazy. And last night it seemed to be kind of quiet. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, stuff happening after we were using the app. And I don't know if that shook them up or what happened, but nobody's ever investigated this place till we just started renting it about 2 months ago.
So do you rent it out to teams, or right now you're just running your tour, your 3-hour investigations?
Yeah, we're working on teams.
Okay.
That's what our next step is to, you get into the insurance part of things.
Oh, yeah.
So we're just trying to see how it's going to go. And so far it's been really successful. So, I've got the boss talked into pretty much doing teams now.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this place has not only the house, but you have about 3 to 4 acres that were camped on by guys. So,
okay. So do you have a calendar of events? Oh my God. I love it.
Hey, here you go. Come here real quick.
This is I love it.
What are we doing?
So
a podcast with the cool people.
So this is Chris Mendez.
Yes.
And he's Sean's partner with the app.
What's going on?
So they were asking about exactly what the app does, and I was trying to explain it.
Okay, so it's just basically a live EVP. So you're basically listening to what you would do like with a recorder, any other recorders, except this is AI based. So the AI is actually doing the listening for you. So instead of having, it basically takes a human out of it. So instead of you like listening to the EVP that's coming through the recorder and saying, I think I hear this, and the other person saying, oh, I think I hear that, and when you say, you're like, oh, man, now I hear that also. This takes all that out. It automatically tells you what it's hearing. So it's almost like you're texting with the dead, which is pretty cool.
Ooh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So you're basically...
That's a good analogy, yeah.
Yeah, so once you hit the record button, it only listens to you talking. And then after the record button stops, it starts listening to the environment around you, and it takes that decibel from the human voice out of it.
So are you worried that this app is going to... pick up something that's not there due to AI?
So the way it's programmed is not, AI is not going to be superseding kind of like ChatGPT and all that. It's not going to be superseding the actual EVP. This is actually listening to the EVPs, and the AI is actually interpreting the EVP for you.
Okay.
So,
that makes sense. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. It's something that hasn't been done. It is, it's new, and we're still experimenting with it. So we're still, like it just came out yesterday. I got it yesterday, so I'm starting to experiment with it from yesterday. We got some amazing responses.
So it's available on iPhone only, right?
Right now, it's available on iPhone only.
How much is it?
It's $14.99 right now.
Okay, we'll have to check that out. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, right now it's just like a single purchase. You purchase it, on the app until we start doing any other items or anything like that.
Okay.
I might have just gave you a little sneak peek there, but
I appreciate it.
Hey,
we are all about Para-Unity, supporting other people.
Absolutely.
I'm all for the homegrown business side of everything. We get a lot of our equipment from independent equipment makers, apps from independent app makers, and things like that. So I will be downloading this solely just to one, support, but two, see what I can get with it.
Of course.
I'll have to let you know.
And it's all about personal experiences too. Like everybody we've talked to that have used the app have had their own personal experiences that something like an app wouldn't even know. Like, so one of the things we got yesterday, somebody's, loved one passed away, and they were talking to her, and apparently they ended up asking the person exactly something that they only knew about their childhood. And the app actually responded and gave them the whole story. One of the other quick examples, Sean and Eric were out in North Carolina on was Sunday.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that Sean asked was basically, who's standing next to me with the black hat? And it comes right through and says Eric, clear as day. No other app would know that. And it's not like listening to. It doesn't have a library of speech. It's actually free speech. So it's allowed to speak and say whatever it wants.
That was actually going to be my next question. Thank you for answering that. And obviously, he didn't have a camera pointed towards Eric, or nobody had said Eric standing next to me with a black hat. This is just based on whatever's coming through. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, it's still experimental. We're still experimenting with it.
and every little things that we find here and there, we're tweaking it and doing updates and pushing that out. So
I love it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us and taking your time. I appreciate that.
Thank you guys for allowing us to speak about it. But this is cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. Anytime. And I mean, if you create any more apps or you want to hop on, just shoot us an email. I'd love to get you on the podcast and you can talk apps.
Hey, just look me up, Chris Mendez. I'm all there. And Sean's actually the mastermind of the whole app. He's the whole idea behind it. I just
mastermind.
I'm just
I don't think Sean Austin and mastermind would be in the same sentence.
This is solely based on his idea. He's had this idea ever since I known him. So I figured
awesome. I love it. Well, yeah, we will be definitely getting it, and I will report back and let you know.
Yeah, let us know. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one. Have a good night, guys. See you. I'm out.
What time are y'all leaving tomorrow?
I don't know yet. We're gonna go do.
Give me a shout. I can still take you over there.
Well, yeah, we can go there once you're done here. Just let me know.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'll give you a shout.
All right, I gotta go back to the hotel real quick.
Okay, I'll let you know. Good luck. Thanks, guys. Sorry about the interruption, but
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I seen him walk by, and I was like, "Oh, he could explain it better than I could." So
interesting. I think we're definitely going to get that and check it out because right now we're really big on EVPs and trying to. Well, Sean's our tech guy, so I'll let him speak more on it because he just recently acquired a DR60. And we're trying to figure out the actual, what's the word I'm looking for? Like about the board, it's like
the circuit, like the science behind why the DR60 picks up so much more than everything else.
Right.
And I'm getting headway with it just with research, but I'm actually testing out the DR60 along with other recorders as well.
Right.
Just to see what's doing.
Yeah, I got when we were buying equipment for the house, I had to get in touch with my boss and say, hey, well, he said make a wish list, which was that was the worst thing he should have done.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously we're doing public investigations, so people are going to come in and they're going to say, I want to use something that we saw on television,
Sure.
So we ended up getting a FLIR thermal imager and like a Ovilus, just a bunch of handheld stuff that they can use.
Right.
But then he got the Zoom H4n Pro, and that thing, man, 360. It's recording through the whole, and I put it up in the attic for a little while just to see if we would pick up anything. And I actually was picking up the cars and stuff going by.
Oh yeah.
Outside. But you could actually hear people talking in the car when they were passing by, and I'm like, damn, So we're still fooling with that, trying to fix it. But the DR60s, I've been around them. Don't have one personally, but they have always been, it's always been really cool what I've seen come out. What they pick up.
Yeah, the first experience that we had with a Zoom recorder was in Gettysburg, actually just outside the wheat field.
Oh, yeah.
And we experienced a similar situation where the cars that were driving the battlefield, we could hear their conversations. And like at first we were like, oh my God, we caught something. And then you could like hear the audio tour that people were listening to. And I'm like, that's the audio tour. That Zoom mic is ridiculously sensitive.
Yeah, but like there's a level of sensitivity and picking up certain wavelengths, and that's where I'm at with it with recorders. That's what I'm trying to figure out is what is it about that DR60 that is picking up? What is it picking up? Howie.
Hey, Howie.
Howie Odell. Him and I need to get together. I haven't seen him in forever.
Yes.
Yeah, Howie actually investigated with us 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we have a place here in Lynchburg.
Yes, Daryl. DR60 on your want list.
I just don't understand why they're so expensive.
I did want to ask about
because people are wanting it. That's why.
Supply and demand.
Like, it's ridiculous. I got lucky. I was able to
negotiate.
Use some great negotiation skill and get mine. But Man, the price of them things, you could buy a car with it.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah,
So
it's
do
like,
you- oh, sorry.
yeah, I went down to Kentucky with Brandon Alvis and Mustafa and filmed with them on on Haunted Discoveries, and they had a camera down there, man, that was worth like freaking like 10 grand, and I didn't even want to touch it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what it was so Brandon had obtained this when he was on Ghost Hunters to just do a show, one of the episodes, and it ended up being NASA uses it.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if you ever watched, when Daryl Marston and all them were on the second kind of generation Ghost Hunters, they did a thing in Alaska where they use this camera, and like when you're looking through it, it's almost like looking through like you're drunk. I mean, it's like 3 or 4 layers. It's not like a full spectrum camera, even though it kind of has that full spectrum, but it was definitely what it's used for. Is there's so many mirrors in there for the camera, or lenses, I should say, that this is what they would try to take pictures with and stuff of planets. So there's different sizes of them, but this thing picks up, man, like they use it some on the show, but it's really weird. Like if you would walk by the camera, you would leave a trail behind you, like so it picks up orbs, and that's a loose word for me to say, but it picks up orbs.
Is Ronnie in here?
Ronnie's in here. Ronnie's in here.
But no, they had that, I didn't even want to touch it, but they had it at Waverly, because they're really close to Waverly where their studios and stuff are. But it's a really cool camera. And I can't remember what the setup is called now, but they're supposed to put out a smaller version for the for people to buy. So
okay. I was gonna say, is there an affordable version?
Yeah, I don't know, but because I'm looking at that one and it's not very big, you know what I'm saying? And it's
what are you gonna do?
But I think it's more of the program, and it's got its own, it's got its own box with it that carries the program where you can set the sensitivity, like he was saying, and everything else on it. And I think that's what the more expensive part is that it's something that was put together by NASA. And it's probably not something that's too much available, so it'll probably have to be a watered down version of it.
Right.
But still, I mean, it's incredible how that thing works. I mean, because you see things that you normally wouldn't see just with the naked eye, or it picks up, I mean, even bugs and little things, and brings them right up to the screen.
Wow.
And so, it was really weird watching them use it, because like you would see things poking their heads around corners and stuff. And I'm looking right down the same place, and you don't see, like, I'm not seeing anything, but then I'm looking at the screen and I'm seeing something. So it definitely, picks up. And I mean, it's like looking through a full spectrum almost camera. So, but just real fuzzy. But then you start to see how the clarity of it is when you actually pick up something crossing the screen. It'll start to clear up a little bit. But he's just a mad scientist, Brandon is, when it comes to figuring stuff out. This would work in the paranormal field. This would work with this. And it just picks it up. But there's a lot of stuff that's out there that people need to pay attention to. Some of it's for entertainment only, And,
well, that's what we like to purchase from independent equipment makers, because, I think I'm going to put a rough estimate of about 95% of the independent equipment makers that we purchase from are paranormal investigators themselves.
Exactly.
So who better than to make the equipment? Somebody that's in the field themselves. Howie said, Andy, do you remember the apparition we caught at Sachs Bridge?
Yes, dude. I was just talking about that Yesterday, yeah, last night we were on. I absolutely remember that. Him and I were we were at Sox Bridge, and if you actually go down, there's a trail that goes down beside the bridge. And we went down and around the corner, kind of with the creek on the left. And there's like a little bit of a sandbar there, I guess is the way to call it, or rock, you know. And as we were standing there, Howie said, "Do you smell?" I think we were playing, correct me if I'm wrong, Howie, but I think he played like, he was playing either like period music or maybe bugle
Probably
call,
Dixie.
something like that. And
Isn't that what he was playing a couple weeks ago? Yeah, probably Dixie.
And we smelled like wet cotton. I mean, it really, yeah, it was bugle calls. And we smelled like wet cotton, and then it was like a cigar, I guess. And all of a sudden, man, we seen this thing go running by. And down there, I mean, if you guys have been there, you know this thick, you know, just thick growth down there. And we actually watched this thing. I mean, it was human form running. It actually startled both of us enough to where we were just kind of both like, you know what I'm saying?
What the hell? Right.
Just trying to figure out where, you know, if somebody else that was there with us had come, but it was moving so fast and no sound. Like there's no way somebody could have ran through there
without
and we didn't hear it. But you know, and then we had a crazy weekend that weekend. That was we had this weird fog that kind of come up around us and stuff when you know, there's points and times you can push it out on the battlefield. Like they say a half an hour after sunset, you can't be on the battlefield. But, you know, if you're kind of already out there, you know what I'm saying? And you're trying to get back in, you might be a little bit later. Dave, oh my God, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, Gettysburg, man. I don't think we've been to that's like our home away from home. So
we're always in Gettysburg.
We are always in Gettysburg, and I think it's like so crazy that we haven't ran into Andy. Like, but I feel
we probably have. We just didn't know.
Exactly. We probably walked right by each other and never knew it. You know.
We probably said, "What's up, man?" Didn't even know.
Yeah.
So like. That's where I was kind of going with this. I think I want to, if you're not booked, we're coming up November 14th through the 17th. The 15th and 16th, we're hosting public investigations at the historic Rainworth Lodge. Oh, yeah. But the night of the 14th, I have no plans. I'd love to try to get up with you and maybe check out your place if it's not booked.
Yeah, and I may have somewhere else that we could check out too.
Yeah.
I got to kind of keep it quiet. Remember, I was talking about the campground.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, the house that's on there it's been sanctioned as a Civil War hospital, or was back in 1983. And I found like a bunch of history on it. I actually got the names of the people they buried in the backyard and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
But literally still has stains on the floor and stuff like that. Yeah. And,
definitely.
Howie's talking about. Yeah, it's a different campground than where we were at, Howie, but not far from it. Not far from where we were camping at. And but yeah, I went in it. So they wanted to have a something Halloween based, spooky stuff like that. So she was like, "Yeah, we should maybe just bring some equipment out," you know, the activity director. And so that's what we did Saturday. We went out there and just took some handheld stuff, REM pod, stuff like that. But just to walk in that door, man, want to talk about humble, you know, especially you go up on the second floor and you're literally looking at, the whole hallway. I can't even really, I have to send you a picture of it. But it's, because actually Chris that was just here talking to you about the app, he is, he's a detective, and we were talking about, I was showing him the picture and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's blood there." He was like, "It's definitely blood," but he's like, the other side of it, like it was a lighter spots. He's like, "That's bodily fluid from where they lay for a little while." And I mean, what else would be in there? Because it started out as like a triage unit where they were just bringing in people and that weren't too bad, and then they would move them to a different area if they were worse. But after the second day, there was no stopping doing whatever they had to do, from amputations to whatever. And it was right in the middle. This house was right in the smack middle of, it was in between. Like if you walked out the front door and walked within a mile to 2 miles, you were either on Little Round Top to Wheatfield. Hancock actually camped out on the back of the property that's now an actual camping resort. And they didn't know this. So I got a phone call from the yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Is that that apartment or that house over there on? We've been there.
Investigated that. It was very slow that night.
I got nothing in there.
We didn't get very much at all. Maybe like a little bit of REM pod, but
nothing intelligent.
But I want to touch real quick though. We'll come back to that. On Ronnie asked, "How do you get on?"
I was just about to answer that.
100 people on it.
Timing.
We literally, whenever we investigate Sachs Bridge, and I really don't want to put the secret out because if
we take a nap.
we go to bed around 10 o'clock at night and get up about 2 o'clock in the morning, and that's when we go out there. Number one. Number two, we always investigate Sachs Bridge during the wintertime. We
try to do during the week.
During the week. If you go on a Friday night at 9 o'clock, you're screwed. If you go in the summertime, anytime between 7 and 12 a.m., you're screwed. We always go like at 2, 3 in the morning. And as a matter of fact, the last time we went, we were with FPRI and Lost Souls. And that's when we got the cannon fire. That's when we heard the cannon fire. And again, it was around that time when just you and I was at Suicide Bridge and we heard the same thing.
Yeah.
The cannon fire. So that's the secret. You got to go when everyone else is asleep.
Exactly. It's this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how he's right. That's why him and I went down that far, because there was a lot of people there, because they have this time of year, they have the college kids use it as a place to hang out and do their thing. Then in the summertime, you have the investigators and people that are paranormal, in the paranormal. So they're out there on the weekends. We usually go out, like we close here at 9 o'clock, and then everybody kind of goes home and grabs equipment and stuff. So it's about 11 maybe when we meet up out there when we do it. And you still have some of the locals that are there hanging out, but most of them are pretty, they're pretty respectful, if they know what you're doing, as long as you're not acting like an ass, you know what I mean? And doing stuff like that. But yeah, Howie's right. The chances are not at the location, but
Howie said right here, not like you said, not at the location. So we got the brilliant idea during the Warrens Paracon to go to the Suicide Bridge. I have never in my life seen so many cars. There had to have been at least 25 cars out there.
You couldn't even park.
We couldn't, I just kind of made a parking spot, and then we started down the bridge, and it was like,
we're setting off everybody's REM pod.
Everybody's stuff is set up. I felt terrible. So we actually did that. We just kept walking down the pathway towards the that guy's house. I can't remember his name. But towards that house, all the way to the concrete pillars, and nobody was there. And we ended up getting, footsteps, voices. Something grabbed my shirt. I actually heard the audible footsteps walk up behind me. I didn't feel my shirt get grabbed, but he's the one that saw it. So there was, sometimes it is off the beaten path. When we jump on public investigations, we hear the spiel about there's a child in the attic, or there's a mean old man in the room off to the left. We're going right. If you tell me to go left, I'm going right.
Exactly. And that's kind of like, I can tell you Suicide Bridge, the actual where you guys were at, I've had more stuff happen there than I have actually on the bridge. And honestly, there's never been a suicide on that bridge. So
I figured it was an urban legend, but there was always something on the other side of the bridge
yes,
that
Howie.
didn't sit right with me. Like every time, I don't know what it is.
I guess, the more the more I've gotten away from some people and things and more into researching myself and looking at stuff and actually accepting some things, a lot of times I think some of these places people have the urban legend has started and everybody goes out there with that mindset and that energy of thinking that they're going to, run into something and eventually it creates something. And then people are trying to communicate with it.
And they don't know what it is.
Yeah. So they're giving it an identification. They're making it. And then the thing becomes self-aware after a while, and yeah, we did physically get sick that night. He's right.
So now I've got to ask the urban legend of Tennessee. Don't ruin my life right now, Andy.
I tried to tell her that it's a science behind that.
It's a parlor trick.
I have tried to figure it out. So I'm an ex-smoker. I haven't smoked in probably 13 years.
Good for you.
So I'm trying to figure out.
As she coughs.
I was just thinking that you read my mind right now. You are medium, sir. You are psychic. I'm sorry, psychic.
Yeah, I'm dying over here. But I've been trying to figure out how you actually see the cigarette puff, but I think it has to do with the wind.
Well,
I think it's the metal that's reacting to it.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. It's got to do with the coldness of the actual metal and the heat of the cigarette.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, heat attracts, you know what I'm saying, or cold attracts the heat, I guess, and vice versa. So that's why you get it spinning at, because that heat's going to attract to the cold. And so that's why it'll spin. And I had a guy show me, he took me out there because I was debating it. And I was like, come on, how's that happen, on command? And then it looks like it's, sucking in like you're saying.
Yeah.
And so he took a cigar and did the same thing with it, but he laid a cigar beside it that was just barely lit and hadn't been puffed on to have a cherry yet. And then he puffed on one and had a real thick cherry on the end of it. And he laid it down, and within a couple minutes, the one that had the thicker cherry, started pulling itself towards the metal. And I was like, damn it. Because I was the same way like you, I thought that was something. And then we talked to a few other people that were out there over, a couple different times. And he's like, yeah, that's just a parlor trick. They said that some tour companies started that.
They did?
Yeah, way back 20, 30 years ago. One of the first tour companies in town would take people out to certain places, and Saks is always obviously a place. And they had tried this. I guess they were probably a little bit more educated than we were. You know what I'm saying? And then, let's see if this thing works. And that's how it got started. Yeah,
I thought it was a little bit weird because everybody's lighting cigarettes, and I'm thinking to myself, there's not a soldier. I'm picturing this in my mind, this ghost soldier bending over, sucking the heck out of one cigarette, hit the second cigarette. And he's just at this point, he's 9 packs deep in one day. It's not
smoking. Chain smoking, one after the other.
I'd be more apt to believe if it was somewhere other than the metal pole. If you put it anywhere else, and obviously you don't want to put it on the wood, but if you put it anywhere else or just held it in your hand, I always knew there was something scientific with it.
Yeah, it has to do. Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't really know.
I'm trying to think of the term that they used. The term that they use, but that's what it has to do with is the heat attracted to the cold. Is what it had to do with. And, it might not be a bad idea to maybe go across the path there to the stone wall and try it on that. I mean, it's not I mean, obviously, if there's some kind of energy there that's actually doing something, that's he's not
Really loves cigarettes.
yeah, exactly. But he shouldn't be confined to just that side of the bridge,
That's true.
Well, if that's the case, you could light it and hold it in your hand, and he'll puff
too.
up. Or you can put it on a tripod and stick it on there or something like that.
That's
Find a
true
way
too.
to take it down.
Yes, science.
Yeah.
Like I said, Howie, Andy said it best. It's a parlor trick. It's still fun.
It's not. It's not fun. Though.
I think it's funny.
I don't think it's fun.
I do.
Because everybody starts oohing and ahhing. I'm like, no.
You're like me when it comes to that, man. We put so much love into this field and so much time and effort, and then you see these people that are, ooh and everything, and it's like, that's just like we'll go out there and people will be talking about, Sykes Bridge supposedly got its name because of the hangings and stuff like that, which is completely false. There was no hangings on that bridge, and but if they'd really tell the real history of that bridge, then you would realize that, no wonder you have energy out there, because you had all the guys coming into the war, the battle, come across that, the Confederates, and then they retreated back across that. And actually the actual bridge sat where the dam is, and you guys have been down that far. So that's where Sykes was actually during the battle. And then there was a flood, and what's really weird about it is the actual bridge lifted and was torn off of its foundation. But when the water receded, it ended up to about where it's at now. And
I was going to say that's like not even the original bridge.
No, it's pretty much all original wood. Yeah, a lot of it is the dam. But yeah, and I mean, you can imagine, and in the dams, there's churning, energy as well. But you got to think right where that dam was, and then that bottom right there was, where they laid one side. So if you actually look on the opposite side where the railing is, if you're standing there and you look up and you'll see the top of a white house, that's an older white house. That's actually was a hospital for the Confederates. And then it just overran, especially Pickett's Charge is right up over the hill,
Right.
And so they were doing amputations and surgeries right there where the dam was, on actually where Howie and I pretty much caught that apparition at, like down in that area. That's where they buried a lot of the the limbs that they amputated. So they had dead laying on one side, and
oh my God, he's back.
Yeah. I love it. They had the Halloween parade today.
I was gonna say, were you in the parade?
No, he just went out front and scared the crap out of people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm his tech manager.
Yeah, he's my tech manager. Yeah, he won't let me touch anything anymore. So,
oh no,
does he mess stuff up?
No, I tried to put the SD card in backwards. It got stuck, man. But anyway.
But yes, Ronnie, you do have to have a scientific look on the field. Everything is not a ghost or a spirit. We never claim that anything is paranormal. We just say that we've encountered some things that we don't have a definitive explanation for.
Yeah, and I think people lose the sight of the fact that that paranormal, too many people point at paranormal and they think ghosts. Paranormal is the unexplained, something that you can't logically or scientifically figure out, and there's no rhyme or reason or logical reasoning behind it. And a lot of people have lost that over the years, because Hollywood, that's the biggest thing, and but yeah, it gets a little frustrating out here now where you have, because it's become so popular that people just think it's easy enough to walk out onto just think you can walk outside, take a pic, and look,
somebody there.
There's an old,
I live in, I'm right here in one of the most haunted, you could argue, top 2 or 3 cities or towns or whatever. And I have seen stuff since I've been up here, weird stuff that you can't really, you know, the cannon fire, that's almost a daily occurrence up here. Like, it was pretty funny that I was out telling ghost stories at that campground one night, and I was talking about ghost cannon fire, you know, and all of a sudden, like, a few people were standing there talking to me afterwards, and we hear boom, you know, this is like 9:30 at night, you know, and you could have bought them for a penny. And
I love it.
You know, yeah, it never gets tiring, you know. Now during the day, you're like, you know, wondering if somebody's doing, you know, somebody's firing off and having some kind of an event or something like that. But you know, we've had some crazy stuff here at the store. Like, yeah, that's what I was talking about. We seen, it was like a, so we had passed Pickett's Charge, and we've kind of on the end of the, like, well, you guys probably know this, where you cross, so where you, if we were on the battlefield on Confederate Avenue, and you get to where you would take a right to go to Sykes Bridge, right there, that cross.
Right.
So we were there, and we went directly across, still on Confederate Avenue, and to the left.
All right, you went left.
Yeah, no, we went straight.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
still staying on Confederate Avenue. And on the left-hand side, there's a farm there, and it kind of a valley right there, which that was part of the Valley of Death. Now that I've been up here, I've learned so much different history. I've taken some courses. And we had a fog that was just weird. It was in that area and nowhere else. And we were seeing these lights, but then I don't know if Howie remembers, we were just watching these lights move back and cross. Also, you know, what was weird is we also seen what we thought was a car behind us. And so we kind of took off because, you know, it was after dark. So we were like, oh, you know, and it never made it to us. Like, we'd never seen it turn. We never seen it, you know, and then we were questioning whether or not it was lights of a vehicle at that point, you know, because that farm was nobody was living there at that point in time. But I'll tell you something cool. You can actually rent that house now.
Oh, I did hear about that. There's 2 battle houses that you can rent.
Yep, there's 2 of them. Yeah, and then we thought it was torch flame lights. Exactly.
I was just about to ask, was it lanterns? Like, maybe
it could have been, you know, it could have been. It was like, you know, once we started kind of questioning, where did it go? You know what I'm saying? That was, and that's something else that people have seen. And I witnessed it finally, say maybe the end of July this year, is as campfires, ghost campfires. Like, you see them out on the, like the one that we saw was on top of like Little Round Top or close to it. And most of the Battlefield Park guides will not, they won't share a whole lot of paranormal stuff. Yeah. But when you get them talking, like some of them, I had a young lady that worked for me here as a tour guide. Her husband was a Battlefield Park guide, and he's who I was chasing around, getting all my learning done, you know. And he had witnessed, yeah. He said, I'm going to tell you now. He said one time they witnessed it. They were doing something out on the battlefield right at dusk, like right getting into dark. And they saw that. So obviously they ran with the ranger up there because they thought somebody was being dumb or threw a cigarette out or something like that. And they kept chasing this fire and could never find it. Like, you know, they knew where it was and they kept going to it. But he said, then we realized that we didn't see any smoke, which was really weird. But he said they could actually see, you know, from a distance, if you're looking at a fire and people are walking around it, you can see that from a distance.
Right. The glow.
And that's what they were seeing. And he was like, I don't know what that was. He was like, you know, and, you know, it's weird things like that happen here.
Yeah, Ronnie said he knows somebody who had a similar experience at Cold Harbor. The fog and the lights, she actually has it on video. Even now, I hear you explain the same experience. So that is cool. So it seems to be definitely, Howie said he would love to see that. It seems to be, battlefield related. I mean, again, now you're talking and getting into that whole residual. Now, we were thinking when we investigated Friday or Saturday night at Cedar Creek that for sure with the reenactment going on, we were going to get something.
Right.
We were going to see stuff. The fog was so thick and
yeah, but there was fog. It was almost like it looked like we had just got done reenacting at night.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle.
It was, hey, Michelle, how you doing?
It was low lying.
Yeah, it looked like it's a difference between fog and gunpowder.
Right.
And it had that, it looked like we had just got done firing off. And even the smell was still in the air and we had stopped firing,
Hours
like 8 hours before.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And then even on our spirit box, it was giving off battlefield commands on our spirit box. I thought that was really weird. It was naming off units that were present.
Yeah, we ended up having the what is his rank, John?
Captain.
We ended up having the captain of our unit join us. And so we had him actually giving battlefield commands with the spirit box running.
We were all still in uniform.
And so he would say something to the effect of ready, aim, and then the spirit box would go fire. And so that was super cool.
And he was saying load, quickly. And then you would hear the spirit box respond to that.
Yeah.
It would say got him, hit him, stuff like that. And I was like,
I think at one point we got he's down.
He's down, yeah.
They're
it
coming.
was saying stuff that it shouldn't have responded to. I do know that sometimes a radio will come through, but not after you have a man who's dressed in a captain's uniform.
Yeah. Right.
Giving off battlefield commands, and it's responding with hit him, got him.
I was the only one not in uniform. So, and we were with 10 people.
And
but
we were all still in our Confederate uniform.
It was 30 degrees outside. I was not about to still be in my hoop skirt. I am a wimp. Call me a wimp. I don't care.
Talking about women dressed, that is something here in Gettysburg that we have witnessed multiple times through EVPs and stuff and spirit boxes where they do not like a woman not dressed the way they would have been back then.
Phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Try that one time when you're up here and just say, do you like how she's dressed? And you'll get some weird responses. One thing that's kind of shadowed here in Gettysburg is the Monterey Pass battle that happened on the retreat, which is over towards Waynesboro, PA, where I live at. Custer actually chased them down, was told to try to, what it was is he was supposed to push him back across the Potomac with no engagement, just kind of just being there. And it had rained that bad, and it rained so bad that the actual Potomac flooded and they couldn't get back across. So they ended up engaging. It was, I can't remember, man, if it was 1.5 miles. I might be wrong on that, but I know that it was at least 1 mile and a little more of just a wagon, just following each other, and the wagon ruts are still up there from the, it was raining so bad. So obviously the ground was horrible. And I'm telling you, it's walking in those wagon ruts is really weird to begin with. But that's the first time we had somebody with us that was up there. And I asked, we had a couple motion sensors and a few things there in a circle. And when she came down, she was like, do you like my pants? And man, everything went off. It was almost like it was going in a circle, and
stressing out the ghosts.
Right. It was kind of funny, but I had another friend of mine. She does tours for another company, and her and I just go out every now and then on the battlefield, do EVPs. And she was by herself walking behind me, and we stopped, and I was, 50 yards in front of her doing one, and she was doing some. And she asked the question, and it called her, what was it, a harlot? Something like that, And
I've been called a harlot before. I love it. Yeah.
And then it said something about her dress, or it just said, you're dressed. And I was like, I'm thinking he's talking to you about you have a pair of jeans on and stuff that's not wouldn't have been acceptable back then or looked at, you know. And so it was pretty funny that it would answer to that, and called her a harlot and then something else. I can't remember what it was, but it all meant the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
Now, when we come down in November, like I said, we don't have any plans the night of the 14th, but we're hosting Publix the 15th and the 16th.
Right.
In period, correct. So I'm curious to see, because it was a Confederate encampment.
Yeah, General Rhodes camp.
Out there, and I'm actually going to be dressed, and Sean's going to be dressed as a Confederate soldier, which is going to be a trigger in itself.
Right. Yeah, I've investigated out there. So
yeah, he's a black man dressed like a Confederate soldier,
right.
And I am going to be a white woman dressed, being accompanied by,
Ooh, I didn't think about that. Right.
So, you know, all of that I'm hoping just stirs up. Now we've investigated Rainworth, 3-4 times, something like that, like 3 times. And it's an active location.
Oh, yeah.
Like
every time something happens.
Every time. So, but this one, I want to kind of wander a little bit outside, maybe onto the actual like battlegrounds. I mean, obviously we're going to go by whatever the public wants to do, but I do want to kind of do a session dressed that way.
Right.
And see, I don't think in Gettysburg I've ever gotten in my period correct and done an actual investigation. So I think that would be definitely interesting. But I do want to check out your location.
Yeah, sure.
You'll have us, of course.
You know that. That's not a problem at all.
But yeah.
I'll tell you, talking about that, something really weird that happened out at the house that we rent to do investigations. I had a black lady come out there with her friends, and she couldn't even sit at the table without feeling like she was being choked. Like she just kept getting up, and like walking away and stuff like that. And she'd go outside and feel better and then come back in. And it was within 5 minutes, she would start, you know, I said, do you actually feel like something around your throat? And she's like, not really. It's just like, I mean, the house was, I mean, it's livable. It's not moldy or old or, you know, there's nothing in there that I think would trigger any kind of
respiratory.
Yeah. Like, you know, and it's like, you know, and she'd walk outside and she'd feel better, you know, and then she'd come back in and it would start. And I'm like, I mean, it does and doesn't make sense, because obviously we're in the north.
Right.
But then the more that I checked it out, there was some Southern sympathizers that were living in the house at the time of the battle. So they probably didn't, they probably just they probably invited these guys in, you know. Right. It wasn't like they gave up much of a, you know, fight. And we do know that some officers were in the house and stuff like that at some point, most likely probably from the artillery division.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it was really weird. She ended up actually gave her money back and told her, you know, I said, I don't want you. She was going to go out and sit in the car the rest of the night. And I'm like, well, you know, come see me. And we actually refunded her, but she did not come back in there. And I don't know if it had anything to do with that, or she was just really sensitive. I mean, it could have been a number of things, but, you know, I didn't even think about the color thing until her friend said something. And I was like, ooh, I wonder.
Well, now, last year during Remembrance Day, I hope you don't mind if I share this story, but
don't tell it, please. Don't tell it. Don't tell it.
So we obviously participate in the parade and all that stuff. So Sean and I are Confederate reenactors anyway. So we definitely get all into the parade and this, that, and the third. We stayed last year at the Inn 1863.
Gotcha.
And we were on the
my favorite hotel, by the way.
Yes, we were on the second level where you walk down the ramp past the pool.
I know exactly where you're at.
Yep. And so I had pulled the car around because that weekend is just chaotic. and I had pulled the car around and got me and my stepdaughter in the car. And Sean was a little bit behind us, dressed in his gear, and he was coming down the ramp. And I saw him 1 minute, and then he was gone the next. Like, and I've got, you know, a Tahoe, and I'm like, where the hell did he go?
Right.
So my stepdaughter's like, oh my God, Dad's on the ground. I'm like, did he trip? And she's like, I don't know. He was just walking and fell. So, and the way he fell wasn't like he tripped. So, of course, after we got done laughing, we
I could have been hurt.
we asked him, we were like, what happened? He said he was walking and he felt like something behind him shoved him. And because the way that he fell almost was like in a forceful way, like he fell forward. If you trip, you kind of crumble, you know. He actually fell forcibly forward, and it did look as though he was shoved. Ronnie said it was your Crocs. He wasn't wearing Crocs. He was wearing his Brogans, Ronnie.
If I had my Crocs, I probably would have been able to get my foot.
I do want to say, hey, Terry
What's
from
up, Terry?
Texas. I know we're
across the lake there.
Yep, I know we're running out of time here. I can't wait to collab with you here in a few weeks.
Absolutely.
I think it's
Come
gonna be
in
a
and
good
see
time.
us.
Yeah, I
Come
think it's
in
going to be a
and
good
see
time.
Yeah, you know,
Shoot me your number so we can get up when we
Sure.
come into town in November. And I definitely want to see. You said you had a picture to send me.
yeah, I'll try to get that to send it to you. I'll send it to you
Cool.
to see. It'll be the hallway in the hospital that we're doing.
Awesome.
See you
Awesome.
later. But
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you jumping on and taking time out of your busy schedule. And
not a
I know
problem.
it's chaotic right now with the Halloween parade and all that fun stuff.
It's over finally, I think.
Well, yeah, the whole town shuts down at like 7.
I know. We were just talking about that today. Sean Austin and I were talking about that, about we should open up a restaurant that stays open past like, 9 o'clock. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think Blue and Gray is the latest one, and I think they close at what, 9?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, you definitely need like a sports bar of some sort.
Well,
At
they
least-
have they have where Gettysburger is, that's around the corner from here. They have a little back alley. They called it the Hideaway, and it's a bar. Now, some guy got smart and put a food truck in there permanently, and he does like quesadillas and stuff like that to almost midnight.
Is he still there?
He probably, I would think. I haven't been down there for a bit.
Oh,
but
yeah. Because I am tired of getting off investigations and having to drive all the way to Sheets.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
totally get a quesadilla.
Everything is different in Gettysburg. We walked into the Moose Lodge because we're Moose members, and I remember everybody just stopped.
But then everybody wanted to buy us a
Everybody
beer.
was so friendly though.
Right.
This was probably, and our Moose Lodge is going to probably frown at me for saying this, but ain't none of them watching the show. That was the nicest Moose people in a Moose Lodge I've ever been to. I think I had like an hour-long conversation about 80s wrestling. And,
Yeah.
and everybody was, I mean, it was excellent.
Yeah, I love Gettysburg. I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
absolutely.
Normally, I do have to go in. I did get yelled at by Jolene. She said Spooky said I have to stop by and see her because I missed her last time.
Jolene.
So I will go see Spooky, and then
Jolene.
we will definitely get up with Andy for sure on the 14th.
Yeah, you might not mention our name to her.
Oh no, we don't. No,
No, don't tell me that.
we don't. Well, they're. I mean, all
Well,
goes
not
toward.
my name, but the company's name.
That's what I'm saying. All companies have some sort of rivalry,
Yeah.
territorial.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, we collaborate pretty well with Ghostly Images and the Farnsworth House and stuff like that. We
Thanks,
all
Daryl.
kind of. And
Thanks for
but
tuning
yeah,
in.
definitely get in touch with me. I'm usually here about every day. So,
All right.
Gettysburg always been a special place to me, and then being able to be part of it every day and learning as much as I have really has given me a different aspect on a lot of different things. So
Right.
I would definitely send you that
Well, we'll
picture.
have
of
to
my phone
stop in.
number.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll have to stop in. We're coming in fairly early on that Thursday. And I have got to, the one place I have not checked out is Gettysburger, now that you mentioned it. So we may do lunch there. We always hit our favorite Mexican spot, Blessing.
What day of the week are you getting
We're
there?
getting there on Thursday.
Thursday? Okay, good.
Yeah. So
Yeah, as long as it's not a Friday night. Good God, you're not getting in there.
I haven't been able to get into Gettysburg just because of the people. So I'm thinking if I come a little bit early, maybe we'll do Gettysburg.
Gettysburg, that sounds good.
Yeah, let's
You
do
don't
it.
want to miss out on that. So definitely good stuff.
Exactly. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us again. I know you're a super busy guy. It's been a great show. We love hearing about history,
Yes.
especially Gettysburg, where it's so near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, we love Gettysburg.
And I appreciate everything that you're doing for the paranormal community out there. Hey, Carrie. So, and we'll have to touch base at some point in the future, see how this location is going and stuff like that. But either way, we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yep. And I'll send you that picture and my number, and definitely, we'll get to do that.
For sure.
Yeah, Howie, that was my name to start with, so I kept it. So,
and for those that are just tuning in, check out ghostcitytours.com.
Yes.
.com, and definitely give Vapor a like and a follow, and Ghost City Tours on Facebook.
And thank you to everybody who tunes in. I see a lot of familiar people who tune in every week, and I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for all your support.
Yep.
Yeah. All the teams that tune in, we appreciate y'all.
We love you all.
Awesome.
Hashtag Paraunity.
Paraunity.
That's what it's about.
Again, guys, I'm Courtney.
I'm Sean.
And we will see you on the other side.